Tata rented its building located in USA to a French company. The building is part of domestic territory of India, USA, France. None of the above. B. Since the building is in USA political frontiers, so the building is part of USA domestic territory. Suzuki, a Japanese company, is having its office in India. It is part of domestic territory of Japan's domestic territory, India's domestic territory. Both Japan and India domestic territory. None of the above. B. Since the office is in India's political frontiers, so the office is in India's domestic territory. Airplanes operated by Air India between India and Japan is part of domestic territory of India, Japan. International. None of the above. A. Air India is an Indian company, and ships and aircrafts owned and operated by residents of a country in different parts of the world are part of that country's domestic territory. Which of the following would be considered part of Japan's domestic territory? Branch of Reliance Industries in New York. Indian Embassy in Japan. Tata rented its building to Google in America. None of the above. D. Options A, B, and C does not fit in the definition of Japan's domestic territory. A cruise ship travels from Miami to the Bahamas, carrying both American and Bahamian passengers. While the ship is docked in a Bahamian port, is the ship part of the Bahamas domestic territory? The United States domestic territory? It depends on where the cruise ship is registered. None of the above. C. Ships are considered part of the domestic territory of the country where the ship is registered. A military base operated by the United States in Japan is part of Japan's domestic territory, the United States domestic territory, India's domestic territory, NATO's domestic territory. B. Military installations of a foreign country are part of the domestic territory of the country to which they belong. Why are embassies and foreign military bases typically excluded from the domestic territory of the host country? They are considered temporary installations, as they are located in geographically isolated areas. They are primarily used for diplomatic or military purposes, not economic activity. They are governed by the laws and jurisdiction of the foreign nation they represent. D. Embassies and military bases belong to the foreign country, meaning they are under that country's authority, not the host's. Which of the following examples illustrates the concept of domestic territory extending beyond geographical boundaries? A country imposing import tariffs on goods from other nations. A country claiming mineral rights within a section of the ocean floor. A country negotiating a trade agreement with a neighboring nation. A country sending military aid to an ally during a conflict. B. Domestic territory includes areas where residents have economic activity rights, even if those areas are not within traditional land borders. An Indian-owned company sets up a manufacturing plant in the United Kingdom. Would this plant be considered part of India's domestic territory? Yes, because it is owned by Indian residents. No, because it is located in United Kingdom political borders. Yes, as long as the profits are sent back to India. Yes, B. Domestic territory is about geographical area under a specific government's control. Which of the following is the most accurate definition of domestic territory? The land mass within the political borders of a country. The area where a country's laws are enforced. The geographical area administered by a government where people, goods, and capital can move freely. All territories owned by a nation, including overseas possessions. C. Domestic territory is the area under a government's administration where movement is unrestricted.